Hey guys, I'm Hannah and welcome back to my channel Nomadic Unicorn. I thought today it'd be fun to give you 10 facts about one of the places that I'm going to be visiting in January. So you already know that I am flying out to Bangkok and I'm going to be there for around 6 nights, and then I'm going to my next destination, which I don't think I've told you about yet. The place that I'm going to be going next is Myanmar or Burma. So I thought today I'd give you 10 facts about Myanmar and give you a little bit of info on a country that most people haven't even really heard of and don't know a lot about. All of the facts I'm giving you today are either out of my Lonely Planet book or from research I've done on the internet. I'll put sources for the information in case you want to have a look down in the description box below. Myanmar was previously known as Burma, and if you speak to your grandparents or even your parents, they probably will know the country by that name. And it was known as Burma up until 1989, when there was a lot of political stuff going on, which I'm not going to go into detail. But essentially the military junta, or junta, I apologise for any mispronunciations in this by the way, so the military that was running the country decided to get rid of the name Burma because it was due to the British colonial rule in the past, so they got rid of the name Burma. They also got rid of the names Rangoon and Pagan, which is why the country is now known as Myanmar, and Rangoon became Yangon. So Myanmar has actually been adopted as the country's name by the UN, but because it was the military junta that decided to do this, there's a few other bodies that aren't entirely sure about the legality of the name change. Myanmar is the largest nation in mainland Southeast Asia, and it is bordered by Bangladesh, India, China, Laos and Thailand, and that's why it's going to be really super easy for me to go from Thailand over to Myanmar. I say super easy, it's close. The biggest book in the world is actually in Myanmar, and it consists of stone slabs placed vertically near the pagoda of Koto Dao. Again, pronunciation, flash the word up on the screen. And it's a book of sacred Buddhist texts. This book of sacred Buddhist texts has 1,460 pages apparently, and each page is a huge piece of polished marble on which is engraved around 100 lines of text. Each page is apparently 1.5 meter tall, 1 meter wide, and has a thickness of 12.7 centimeters. And that is insane. That's a big book. I'm hoping I get to go and see that because that's pretty cool. Some of the temples and pagodas you can see in Myanmar were built in the 12th and 13th century, which tells you just how old and historical some of the sites that you can see there are. And there are a lot of these temples and pagodas built by the Pagan Empire as Theravada Buddhism spread all the way throughout the country. So that's why you see in the typical photos of Myanmar all the beautiful temples and pagodas all around, whether that's Bagan, Mandalay, Yangon, you know, everywhere. It is polite to pass money with your right hand, and that also goes for food and gifts. And it says that you're supposed to pass it with your right hand and kind of tuck your left hand underneath to support the right arm. The currency in Myanmar, as you can see on the screen below, is the kyat, but it is still advised to take US dollars into the country with you. And this can be really confusing for tourists, and things have been changing a lot over the last few years since Myanmar opened itself up more to tourism, and a lot of the restrictions that were in place have been relaxed. If you do take US dollars into the country, which is advised, they need to be pristine, no folds, creases, tears, marks, no like counterfeit pen stuff on it or anything, or you won't be able to change them. They also need to be no older than 2006, and $100 bills with serial numbers starting with CB may not be accepted due to a counterfeit super bill that was apparently circulating at some point in the past, and there's just this panic about. When I read about like the US dollar thing, I wanted to know why it was almost like a second currency, and I did a bit of research. So the reason that US dollars are still used, although the country is trying to make an effort to move away from this and use the chat more, is because of various changes to the chat over the years. The military in charge of the country changed the chat and the denominations and the bills and things in the past, which found that some people's sort of savings were entirely wiped out. And in a bid to stop future economic problems, the people in the country decided to protect themselves by using US dollars and by stockpiling them and saving them, because if the government did change the chat again, they then would have backup and wouldn't lose all their savings. Previously, and in a lot of guidebooks that you'll read that were written a few years ago, sort of more than 3 years ago, you'll see that they say that you need to take all of the currency you will need with you into Myanmar. That's no longer the case. As of 2013, the country has seen more ATMs come in, particularly in the tourist places, Yangon, Inle Lake, Bagan, Mandalay, and in the airports as well. So there are now ATMs, although that being said, I have read that they don't always work and they may not accept your cards, or your bank may not accept the transaction, and also that there is quite a large fee to use them, which is usually around 5,000 chat, which translates to about $5 US. I can't pronounce this very special person's name, so I'm going to refer to her as the lady. You can read her name on the screen. And she is the popular opposition leader in Myanmar. And she was actually under house arrest by the military government from 1989 to 2010. And whilst being under military arrest, she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991 and is the only person that hasn't been able to collect the Peace Prize in person. It is reported that during the time she was under house arrest and when the government was particularly harsh under military rule, that if you spoke her name aloud in public, you could be arrested and sent to a prison camp just for doing so, which is pretty scary. Moving away from the money and political side of things, this one's quite fun. So allegedly, if you want to get a waiter's attention in Myanmar, you have to blow them kisses. Can you imagine being sat there and be like... It's apparently not like that. It's meant to be more like a sucking sound, so I've read, so I'm guessing something like... which is ridiculous. I'm actually quite looking forward to going and seeing that in action for myself. I don't know whether I will be blowing kisses to waiters. And fact number 10 is about the yellow paste that you often see on people's faces when you see pictures of Burmese people or pictures of Myanmar. And this paste is called Tanaka. I'm sure that pronunciation is wrong. And it's a cosmetic paste which is made from water and a specific tree bark which can be found in central Myanmar. And they put it all over their skin, and the idea is that it acts as a sunblock and it's anti-aging. It also allegedly helps prevent acne. So maybe I will give that a go, although not for the sunblock purposes because I will burn. So I hope you enjoyed those facts about Myanmar. It is a country that, like I said, not many people know a lot about. So it's been really interesting for me having a look at some of the culture and the history. I'm not gonna lie, it's a country I am quite nervous about going to, especially as the second one on my Southeast Asia list, simply because it's not travelled as much. It's not on the backpacker route necessarily for Southeast Asia so much, although that is, I think, changing a little more now. But that is also why I'm excited to go on the flip side. I think it will be really interesting to see somewhere that isn't as made for tourists, that the traditional ways are still very much there, that it isn't all like a huge show for the tourists, that you can genuinely see some of the culture. And yeah, I'm really excited to explore it. I think it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a big learning experience, and I can't wait to take you guys along with me. So keep watching this channel, and in January you and me will be going around Myanmar. Don't forget, you can keep up to date with what's going on Twitter, Facebook, my blog and Instagram. Until next time, much love, take care, bye!